Welcome to another episode of Room for a Podcast. I am Brittany, and we are doing something different with the podcast. I now have a co-host, Cindy. How you doing today, Cindy?
Hello. I'm doing fantastic. Yeah.
So we've had Cindy on the episode before. If you go back to episode 1 on season 1, you will hear Cindy's phenomenal story. And now she's on here to, share more information. But something that was on, that I've been thinking about lately a lot. I heard someone talk about that your past is a place of reference and not a place of residence.
Exactly. That's why it's called the past. Yeah.
That hit
It's
me
supposed
hard.
to peak.
Yeah.
Peak. Because if you don't, it'll eat you alive.
Mm-hmm.
It'll stop you from doing anything. You cannot move forward if you're in the past. It's impossible. Nobody. I don't care if you're the richest person on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
If you're stuck in yesterday, you're in yesterday.
Yeah. I think the only way it's helpful is like when you, like the saying is a place of reference. So you go back and review, like certain habits and behaviors, because if you don't look at it, you can't, if you're not looking at what you're constantly doing, then you can never be aware to stop doing that thing.
Yeah, and what I have found is when that really comes into play, there's such a thing as called an acceptance prayer. The very end of it is all about if I'm irritated with a person, place, or thing, the answer is I've got to go in there and find out my part, not my blame,
mm-hmm.
and not what I've done wrong or not what I've done good, but what's my part? I teach people how to treat me.
Yeah.
And when people miss what my perception, when I feel as though I've been hurt and then I want to blame you, then I don't want you to be you.
Yeah.
Because you hurt me when you didn't hurt me. You were just you. I perceived that as hurt. I can become hurt, but it's not your fault that I got hurt.
Yeah.
99% of the time, it's about my perception of you.
Yeah.
I made this you that I want to be with,
mm-hmm.
and you're busy being you, and I'm going, well, hell, that hurt. What'd you do that for? What'd you say that for?
Yeah.
Because they're just being them.
Mm-hmm.
But so I get mad at you because I'm too lazy to change. I don't want to look at me.
Yeah.
If you change, then I'm going to be happy. No. It's when I allow you to be you and have the courage to be me,
mm-hmm.
regardless of you.
Yeah.
Then I've got the peace of mind and peace of heart.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
And my thing is with the self-reflection, I don't know. I had a lot of thoughts when we were just talking, because for instance, organized religions, you go to God, you pray, which is a good thing. You pray to your God, your higher power, to help you move through things. But where's the reflection part on like the behaviors and why I'm doing these things?
Mm-hmm.
And then I think I have a bias on it, because I know people who are part of organized religions, they're great people,
Some
go to their God. Well, some people I know, some of the people they're great people, go to their God, but then still behave the same way.
Yeah.
Because there's no reflection on why am I doing these things, or they're not referencing the past at all. It's just going on a
what I have found in my experience, and I was baptized and raised Catholic.
Okay.
What that was all about was you do not ask any questions.
Mm-hmm.
Back when I was a kid, the priest spoke in Latin, and I remember saying to my mom, I can't understand this dude. She said, you don't have to. I said, I don't have to. Why am I here? Yeah. Well, God's talking to him, and he's giving you the message. I'm hearing it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know Italian. I don't know Latin.
Mm-hmm.
So what am I hearing, Mom? You're expecting me to believe in something. First of all, I can't see it.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, it's speaking a language I don't understand. So what you're asking me to do is don't ask questions, be blind, and accept that there's something there that's going to help me be a good little girl, okay? So I don't go to hell, even though you're telling me I'm already going to go to hell because of what Adam and Eve did.
Yeah.
And I had nothing to do with that crap, but I'm doomed. The minute I come out of your body, I am doomed.
Done.
Yeah. So, and I'm supposed to love and believe and trust So when I lay in bed at night and I'm crying and I'm praying like you tell me to, and nothing changes, no, I don't want anything to do with religion. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I want spirituality. And also, I can remember when I was like in fourth grade, I stayed overnight with a little friend, and it was on a Saturday night. And come Sunday morning, they wanted me to go to church when they were Methodist. I called my mom. She says, "No, you can't do that." I said, "Why?" She says, "There's only one religion, there's only one God." Oh, okay. So why can't I go? Because they don't believe what we believe. So for me, I prefer spirituality because spirituality is for everybody. And religion wants to pigeonhole me, put me in a box, make me believe what I'm told when I can't even understand it, trust it, and it's male.
Yeah.
No, doesn't work for me.
Because if your higher power is a reflection of you, how can you identify with, like for me, if I go into church or any kind of place of religion and there's like a guy with his long hair, white skin, it's kind of like, if it's a reflection of me, that's not reflecting me.
That's right.
So I can't really identify with it, Yes. But I think religion is good where all humans crave, even if they don't want to admit it, crave community and to be a part of.
Yes.
So people go to church or whatever temple they do their praise in, they have their community and they're going towards the same direction of what they want. They want to feel whole and have that joy and faith. But then it's lacking the reflection part of it. And especially if all the pictures or the statues is like somebody a image of something that does not look like you.
That's right.
Then it's like you feel lonely. And then the blind faith is like, if you're not asking questions, then I speak from my point of view. If I'm not asking questions, how can I have so much faith into a situation that I'm going to be taken care of? If I haven't experienced anything to have faith, it's like, oh, I have faith because my grandparents or my mom or dad, they have faith. But then it's not really unwavering faith. Because initially it's helpful. I'm gonna have faith because you have faith, but then it only gets you so far. And now, another thing, I was talking to someone a few days ago, and she said that when she was younger and started to explore her own ideas of what she wanted to do in life, and at this point, she got in trouble, and she looked at it as sinning willingly. So why would she continue to pray if she's sinning willingly? And I can relate to that like 100% because with my lifestyle coming up, when I decide, oh, I like women, I want to be a woman. It's like, why would I pray to a God of my understanding at the time who's like looks down on me like, oh, you're with a woman, you're homosexual, so you will be destroyed. Like, how can I pray for guidance to this higher power who wants to destroy me? There's no grace or loving. It's nothing there. And then you go, for me, I went on a few years of like, why would I pray? Why would I pray? And in life, it got so bad for me because we're human and we can only do so much. We can't bear the world on our shoulders by ourselves. And I don't know, it's just like, that got to me. But I related to what she said. And I'm sure many people can relate to, well, why would I pray if I'm sinning willingly, but that's like BS. I'm glad I'm at the point where I know this BS, where I can still pray and ask for guidance and have some unwavering faith. But again, that early sense of rejection, the insecurity of rejection comes early on from religion.
It does. I can remember if I spit on my brother, I was going to go to hell. Well, what chance have I got? If I hit my brother, I'm going to go to hell. Don't kids do that? Don't they bite each other? Don't they kick dirt in each other's face and push each other off their bicycle? I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, we don't do it to be mean. We do it because we're kids.
No impulse control yet.
That's right. We don't know what we don't know until we know what we don't know.
Yeah.
And so if when you think about it, when at least in the Catholic Church, they teach in the Bible that God made Adam, and then they took a rib from Adam and made women. Now that's not so. We all got the same amount of ribs.
Yeah, that even
So if I'm going to catch the lies in the book.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I want to read the book?
Yeah.
If Eve, God forbid, so God makes, and then here's Adam, strapping, supposedly nice looking dude. He's in this beautiful Garden of Eden with all this stuff, and they pull from Adam's womb. The only man on earth I know that's ever given creation out of his rib instead of his penis. I mean, he's right. So this is what the book is telling me.
Mm-hmm.
So I got this girl over here. Her name is Eve,
Mm-hmm.
and she's looking around. It's going, wow, look at all this cool stuff.
I know, right?
Right? So, but God's saying to her, don't you think? Don't you look?
Mm-hmm.
Don't you want? I've given you everything you need. His name is Adam.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she's hungry. Adam ain't bought her groceries at Wegmans yet, right? So what'd she do? Take that apple. Yeah. Don't eat that apple. That's knowledge. Because women aren't supposed to know nothing, okay? Don't you dare get any knowledge, because if you do, Adam ain't going to be enough for you, girl.
Yeah.
You're going to get out in those woods and you're going to find there's all sorts of berries on that bush, and you're going to want to taste that. You're going to get curious because I gave you a brain.
Yeah.
You know, if anything, that was God's biggest mistake, would give woman a brain. You know?
If they wanted us to be like Eve was perceived in the book, take our brain away.
That's right. So she ate that apple, and my religion told me that was a mortal sin. And that when I gave birth to my children, they were going to be born sinners. I didn't like that.
Yeah.
You ain't telling me my kids are bad before they're even out of here. Mm-hmm. No way. So I fought that Catholic religion, you know? And then that, but even before that, when because I'm so confused by the Latin, and you gotta believe and you gotta trust that is telling you lies. Mm-hmm. And like you say, everybody you see is a white dude. That's all you see. You see one woman, her name is Mary. Her head's covered up, ain't nothing but just her face sticking out.
I never been inside a Catholic church.
Oh, honey, we gotta go. Tell you.
Yeah, never been.
Nothing but Mary. Mary doesn't. You can't show anything but Mary's hands and her face, right?
I take that back. At boot camp, I was trying to get out of the room, and on Sundays you can go to praise services, which was like they had every religion you could think of. You can go to one of those hours, and I was signed up for 5 of them to be out of the room for 5 hours. Well, I'm sorry, go back. You.
But what they showed when Eve had her boobs bared and a fig leaf. Okay. And Adam had a fig leaf, okay? Mm-hmm. But all of a sudden, now there's Mary, and she's 16 years old, and she's all covered up, right? And nothing but her face and her hands out. And she's supposed to stand there and watch her son be crucified on this cross, which was literally a suicide, because he said, yes, Father, I'll do what you ask.
Yeah, if it's true. I feel like, so like the Bible has a lot of things that could be true.
I'm not here to tear it up.
No, it's just like to question, like, no, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And what got to me, so, and I'm gonna be honest, in school, I was like in La La Land, so a lot of the history lessons just went over my head up until maybe college. I was in African American studies, and that was interesting me.
Where'd you find that? Where'd you even find that? They didn't teach that in my school.
Oh, at TSU. I went to Tennessee State University, and one of the classes I took was African American studies, and it was interesting to me because it was some things I can relate to and about my history. So and also growing up, it was like traumatic. So I didn't know until now that the reason I couldn't focus is because it was trauma. So anyway, in school, it kind of everything's went over my head. Yeah. So now as an adult, I love to watch nonfiction drama. So like or like the shows and movies that come on what is it, BBC, I think. Stuff like that.
The British, they do a beautiful job.
And it makes it makes it like a soap opera. They're like, oh man, they did what, you know? So I started to know more about other religions. And I started doing some Googling. I'm like, wait, I didn't know this happened. I didn't, I wasn't aware of like different situations that happened. So for me, growing up, I was raised Jehovah's Witness.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And a lot of times when things happen in the world, they're like, oh, and this is no shade at all, by the way. When things happen in the world, like, oh, they said that the witnesses will be crucified for or punished for trying to do their worship. So like in Russia or different countries in Africa, they can't. I know for sure in Russia, there's like they'll go and like they shut down the kingdom halls, locking people up. They can't go knock on people's doors and stuff like that. I'm like, and then before I knew about any other history of religions, I'm like, I would be thinking like, oh man, maybe they're right. But then come to find out, the other religions, the Catholics, the
Methodists,
Methodists,
Episcopalians,
everyone has at some point in history has been like killed for trying to worship. And I forgot that a lot of people came to America because they were killed for trying to worship.
That's right.
So I'm like, if every religion has the same thing, this is how you know it's a true religion, because people are being murdered for trying to worship. But if it's happening in all the religions, it's like, okay, but again, I had to be willing to like look at everything objectively without a bias.
Yes.
Yes. I have to check out a Catholic church. Yes. I hear stories about people who, they were raised Catholic. I'm like, they did what? Oh my goodness. And me being raised as a Jehovah's Witness, I was shielded from a lot of things that happen in Jehovah's Witnesses congregations. But now that I'm older, I've been informed of certain situations. I'm like, oh my God, that's terrible. Like, why? I'm like, Mom, why didn't you tell me this? I wouldn't have, I would have had a bias a long time ago. But I'm not gonna get into that. It's not my story to tell. And it's just, yeah. That's what I was thinking about. Yeah. Referencing your past. But how can you reference your past if you're not looking at the past? That's right. And the religions, that's right. They pray, organized religions, they pray to God, which is fine. But there is no inventory on why am I constantly having this behavior. And it just, and then it leads into my second idea. This has just been something that's been festering in my head, was you do these behaviors, but you don't understand why you're doing it. And then you get shunned from your religious group. Now you have no community. Yes. And that creates an insecurity of rejection. And I was talking to my wife, Stephanie, the other day, and we were just talking. And I'm like, oh man. So first, before we were talking, something happened and I was kind of pissy about it. And again, you were upset about, I was upset at her about something, but she did nothing at all, is how I perceived it. Yeah. So the next day, I'm like, you know what? Yesterday when this happened, I felt rejected. Yeah. And it took, I know it's growth, y'all. Yeah. I'm like, stop. I'm like, babe, that touched on my rejection, insecurity. Yes. And I know it wasn't intentional, but I just wanted to share that with you because I don't want a resentment to grow there. Yeah. And she's like, oh, thank you for sharing that with me. So, yes. And it was kind of funny. So we talked about it and I'm like, that's growth right there. The fact that I identified what it was. And then it goes. Feeling. Yeah. When feeling rejected. I feel not, you did that, you SOB. Don't you ever, it's like, when you did this, I felt. And it was the next day. It wasn't the same day. But it takes some time, and it's okay to take time. Yeah. As long as you do the work. Yeah. And then it made me think, I'm like, oh man, why does the fear of rejection show up so much in my life? Or not as much now, but in my past. It was like rejection was like a huge thing in me that I hated it, and it just went ugh. It's for everybody. And it was like religion. Oh, this is your lifestyle. You're bringing shame upon Jehovah. You will not be in paradise. So now I'm feeling rejected there. And if I take it even further back, as a kid, having a parent say, oh, I'm going to come pick you up on this day. And then you out there waiting on the porch with your little book bag. And then nobody shows up. And it's like identifying the feeling and looking back on where it comes from. So it won't interfere in my life moving forward. Yeah. But you got to own it. Yeah. You own it. And if you can feel it, that's when you can heal it. It can't, and people they bypass. I found this for myself. I will go from here up with everything. Yeah. I'll go talk to a therapist and nod and talk for years. But nothing happens till I do the body work from here down. If I do not feel it, I can't heal it. And that is the truth. For me, that is what I have found for me. I agree. Yeah. And when I'm not afraid to feel, because you can beat the hell out of me, but don't you pinch my emotions. I can't do it. That's why I drank. That's why I was a drunk for so many years. It wasn't, I picked up my first drink at 11 years old and it was like, stop caring. Caring is emotions. And it hurts. Yeah. And if I stop caring, it doesn't hurt anymore.
It was a tranquilizer that took me, then it gave me that courage to be somebody I wasn't, somebody I wanted to be, but I was told already, being rejected, that I could never be, so I could become, I could do, I could have, I could lie, cheat, and steal because I was entitled. You had taken and ripped from me forever, but I didn't care. I didn't care. And now, of course, not having drank since 1989, I care so much that I don't have to care in a codependent way. It's like when I work with my people, I sponsor my people. I sponsor people in the program, men and women, and they, I tell them, I don't care if you go get drunk.
Yeah.
Don't do me good. I want you to care. If you care, you won't. And that's what, when you talked about when we first started, if I don't look back at me and see what I've done and what, that's not character defect. It's not a shortcoming. It's a habit of survival.
Yeah.
When you come from the crap that a lot of us come from, So it's a beautiful thing when you can get that kind of courage and care. But for me, I had to go from one end of the pendulum to the other. I went from not caring to caring so much that, my God, I'd lick your boots. I would do. You wouldn't have to do nothing for yourself. I got this already done.
Yeah.
I got this. You can't do it right anyway.
And now you short. You like you giving yourself nothing at all. You just was it short? I can't think of the word I'm looking for. But basically, you're not giving yourself anything at all. You're empty because you're giving it all away. Yeah, the drinking stuff or not caring. And some people could have grown up in a household where all their physical needs were met. Had house, food, all that stuff, but their emotional needs probably were not met. So then it's still a mode of survival. So you pick up certain habits or behaviors to survive, and then you carry it on. And I'm so glad I met my wife because I think maybe I would have learned these things eventually, but she was already in therapy by when we met, and she would say certain things, and I'm like, "You don't know me, you don't know my life." And then now looking back, the things that she was saying, the things that she certain habits she saw or behaviors was true, like survival tactics, and trying to survive. And I'm like, I'm not trying to survive. I'm thriving now. So I those modes of survival, they're no longer serving me.
Yeah, but they're habits, and we trigger, and we'll go right to them again until we own it. It's not about shame; it's about guilt. Yes, I am guilty. Own it. Don't ever do it again. Yeah. That's how I stopped being guilty. I stopped doing what I used to do. I find new ways, people to talk to, people to guide me. I stay open and vulnerable, or else I'm not going to learn nothing.
Closed off.
Yeah.
And so, like, for me growing up, a lot of people, even now, a lot of people could use a program to grow and develop. But in my community, you can drink, smoke, do all these things under the sun. But if you're not, as long as you're not begging for money or on the street, you're fine.
Really?
Yeah, it's like you're not alcoholic, unless you're falling over. If you're interrupting other people's peace, then maybe you're alcoholic. So if you come to a family function and you're drunk, falling over, and causing a scene, you're alcoholic. But if you just drink all day, every day, you fine. You have a job. You're not begging. But it takes for them to like get off the scale of pain. The scale 1 to 10. You off the scale of pain, and now you're begging for money. You're stealing and you're lying and you're cheating. That's this person, they need to stop drinking or whatever. But it's like, that's why I'm glad I found a 12-step program.
Yeah.
Because it helps me to live life on life's terms. And hopefully the way I'm living can possibly influence other people to live a certain way. Or a different way, I would say. But yeah, that's what I was thinking about. Like, I could have stopped if someone would have told me a long time ago, hey, you shouldn't be drinking like that. I'm grateful that everything happened the way it happened, because I wouldn't be where I am now.
Yes.
But somebody would have been like, hey, you drinking a little too much there.
Yes, and I want to, so stay away. Leave me alone.
Yeah, that's true. That is absolutely true. Yeah. It's just funny how things play out. It's like, wait, someone could have told me this a long time ago. But again, in the community I was raised in, unless you have a bag under a bridge, you're fine. Your bills are paid.
Mm-hmm.
You're not begging me for it. You're not interrupting my peace. You're good. I don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's people in like religions who like drink heavily, but they're fine, supposedly.
Well, in my religion we had this thing called confession, and you go to communion, and you go to confession on a Saturday night, and you go in this little booth. It's like an old telephone booth.
I see those on movies.
Yeah, and there's this screen and a black curtain, but yet you could see to the priest could see you a little bit. You could see and he'd always sit like this, so you could only see the side of his face, and you're sitting and talking right into him, and you're saying, "Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned." And I learned real quick as a little girl, lie like hell in there, because if he said, I shoplifted, they'd send you out, and you'd have to say maybe 10 Hail Marys, 10 Our Fathers, maybe 10 Apostle Creeds. And people are out there, other people.
And they know you did something.
Know you did real bad. So I would lie, and I'd say, I just hit my brother today. Last week we were arguing. I threw mud at him. So I might have to say one Our Father, one Hail Mary, and I'm up and out of there. So they're knowing this. She's a good little girl. Good little girl, nice little kid.
Yeah.
So I learned to lie in church. I learned to lie in church because I would see people go in there. Even God bless my mom, she did it, but she would go in there, whatever she'd say and do, and then she called some shitheads on the way home or whack the hell out of you. It's like, you just come out of church. You just confessed, and here you're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Friday night, get drunk, beat the hell out of each other. I mean, so what good is it?
Mm-hmm.
There was no consequence for your action. You were forgiven, apparently, so you could go do your thing as long as you were straight. As long as you were straight. As long as you were husband and wife, because you're not allowed to divorce in Catholic religion. You're not allowed to use contraceptives.
So you have all these kids.
That's why
can't take care of them.
I come from 8, I come from 8. It's like, what? But you don't ever get divorced. And my mother never did. Beat up every weekend. But don't get divorced.
I remember you telling me or sharing about how it was like always fighting and stuff in your household and much more. And don't get divorced.
Yeah, you do not. You do not. Then they had those 10 commandments, and it's like, oh my God, do not covet thy neighbor's wife. Well, what? But didn't say the woman couldn't covet the neighbor's husband.
Yeah.
Or the neighbor's wife. Everything was set up for men.
Yeah. And like if you go like again, history thing from me watching these shows and movies, going way, way, way back when, it was religion was used to like, herd the sheep or like fearmonger and keep people in check and in place. Control and the women had no say. And it just continued. So I'm just like, wait, none of this makes sense. How can we all be equal or contributing equally? We all here for a reason. Well, why am I on like the bottom of the totem pole? That doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it. And even with my mom and dad, it was craziness in the household, and she was, going to the Kingdom Hall, being a Jehovah's Witness, and it was just, my dad was like, Jehovah said you stand with your husband, even though he was falling out and drunk. It's like, wait, that don't make sense. Why do I have to get the short end of the stick because of what's in this book? But it doesn't make sense.
But it says it's for mankind, not human.
Yeah.
Like the Constitution says, man.
Yeah.
Doesn't say woman. All those crowds of white guys. I mean, really, it's built for them. Religion was built for them.
Yeah. And that's why, like, when I learned about spirituality and I understood the concept, I was like, oh my God. So there's hope. I have some kind of hope. Because I remember when I was like in this 6th grade, around that time frame, I know it was like really chaotic. Utilities off, like lights out. Our lights were off. Dad drinking a lot. Yeah. And to the point where like, I think the water was off too. And at night, they would go and hopefully this is beyond the statute of limitations in Memphis. So at night, we'll go turn the power back on from like take a different meter and steal utilities and go down out to the sidewalk and turn the water back on. And that's the environment I was living in. And it was just like, I think that was maybe one of the most chaotic moments that I can remember. And I was in the 6th grade, but I was going to the Kingdom Hall with my grandmother and my aunt. And even though it was so stressful at home, I felt some kind of peace. And it's because I always pray, just
Yes.
a lot of prayer, a lot of prayer. On Sundays, I would go to the Kingdom Hall, and then maybe Tuesdays and Thursdays. So maybe 2 3 days a week, I'm out at a place of worship.
Yeah.
So yes, it's chaotic. Utilities off during the day, but they're on at night. Water, not really. Everything environment, an environment that I would never raise my children in.
Yeah.
And me and my siblings, my older siblings, we joke about the situations and laugh. It's traumatic. But I'm saying it to say, when I got a little older and I started thinking, like, had an interest of the opposite sex, I shouldn't be, how can I pray if I have interest of the opposite sex?
Mm-hmm.
And then that idea grew, like that shame kind of grew. It's like, oh man, I should be ashamed of myself.
Mm-hmm.
How can I pray to Jehovah, a loving God, if I have an interest in the opposite sex?
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of like stopped going. I basically stopped going to the Kingdom Hall on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, or whatever days it was. I stopped going because why am I in here being a phony? And why would I pray? And that was in middle school, and it just went from there. So throughout high school, nothing. No, like, pray sometimes, to get out of a bad spot, but no real prayers.
Get me out of this, please, and thank you.
Yeah, and then
hurry.
I became a young adult and went to college and flunked out and joined the military, and now all this emptiness of not having a higher power to pray to, now is building up. And I don't want to feel these feelings of loneliness and sadness and shame. So what do you do? What do I do? Pick up the bottle. And I'm me being me. When I was a little young, and I'm like, I'm never gonna drink in my life. I don't want to live that way. I had never drank ever. And then in college, first week of college, I had a sip of alcohol, and even then, I still didn't drink alcoholically. It was like maybe around when I joined the Navy, but a buildup of no higher power to pray to, no one to turn to when I have problems. Can't turn to your family, because they can only do so much, or they, you tell one person something, now the whole family knows about it. And just all this shame, guilt, and just this big gap, this big black hole, God-sized hole, feeling spiritually bankrupt, emotionally bankrupt, and having nothing but turning to the bottle.
Yeah.
And then cross that line of the invisible line. Now I'm a pickle. I'm pickled. There is no going back, And so when I finally learned that I can have a higher power of my own understanding, like, my life opened up and things changed. So many years of not praying.
Yeah.
Full of shame.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. I had the answer at 6 about this Catholic thing and this priest speaking Latin. It was a calling for me, not just an idea. It was a calling for me to become a Catholic priest. And when they told me I couldn't, they laughed at me and said, God doesn't speak to little girls. He only speaks to little boys and men. And I thought, what the hell kind of God is that?
I know, right? It's discriminating.
I know, and I'm like, well, that's my, like I say, it wasn't a dream. It wasn't like I want to grow up, be a fireman. It was a calling for me. And I, to digress here for a brief moment, I've done some past life regression. And in that, do you know what past life regression is?
Can you elaborate?
Yeah. You work with a therapist, and sometimes a hypnotherapist, and you go really deep in a meditation, and you get to see where you were in past lives. So I'm a big believer in reincarnation. Some people aren't, and that's okay. And I was told that in a past life I was a priest.
Okay.
So, like thousands of years ago, right? So that's probably why when I was 6 and I went against the Catholic, all that teaching so much, and the priest, and I'd ask my mom and say, where do the nuns live? And she said, well, at the convent. And I said, well, where does the priest? Oh, he lives across the street from the church. I said, where that black Cadillac is? And she, and I said, well,
Wait. So the nuns live in like a separate building together?
Yes.
And then the priest lives by himself?
They live in a home. They're given a home. They have a black Cadillac. They have a maid. They have a cook. And they're nuns.
What do the nuns get?
Nothing. They don't.
None.
They got none. They got no pay. They never had retirement to this day.
Oh.
And the priests are given everything. So my mom said to me when I come home from school, and they told me, "Oh, you can be a nun." I said, "What would I be a nun for? You get nothing." But why to be a nun? A nun is literally nun.
Mhm.
You're married to Jesus Christ, and you do whatever those priests do. And of course, as years on, I found out some of the awful things that these here priests was doing.
Yeah, I saw it on TV a lot. Not saying that all TV stuff is real, but I was able to like hear people's stories.
Well, there's a docuseries on the Vatican,
Mm-hmm.
and I to make the hair raise in the back of your head what goes on there.
Mm.
And working with many women through, and with some men through in recovery, and they talk about how they were sexually abused by priests, especially if you were raised in foster care or orphanages.
Yeah.
Orphanages were terrible. I mean, Catholic school. People don't make this stuff up.
Yeah, no.
They don't have to make that stuff up.
No.
If you make it up, it doesn't hurt. And these people are in trauma.
Yeah.
They cry so hard that they throw up.
Mm-hmm.
They cry so hard sometimes they pass out.
Mm-hmm.
That's not made up.
Yeah.
You don't fake trauma. You can fake happiness real good.
Yeah. But
that kind of trauma is in your soul.
Mm-hmm.
It's in your soul.
Footprint.
Yes.
Yes. That's something. I'm glad that the awareness is brought to light, and they know now. Well, not everyone, but if you do something shady, people gonna find out about the shady shit you're doing. Mm-hmm. So don't do it. Mm-hmm. Even if you're thinking about doing it, you're sick, but you better not do it because the shady shit always comes to light. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I wish you'd tell the politicians that right now, would you please?
It's always some shadiness going on, and it comes to light all the time. Oh man, yeah, I saw a few shows about, or documentaries or docuseries about like people's experiences.
Yes. Yeah.
And again, it's when you look at religion, like the organized religion, mm-hmm. it's a lot of shadiness going on because it's to control, and a lot of people stay a part of it because they want that community. Yes. People crave community and understanding, mm-hmm. and it's the first place, the easiest place to go to get that, or to attempt to get that feeling is church.
Yes, and that's
yes. Not say church, but I say church as a whole for all of the places people mm-hmm. meet. Because mm-hmm. Jehovah's Witnesses, they call it a kingdom hall.
Yes.
And yeah, that's what I'm saying. That the easiest place to access to get that, attempt to get that feeling is a religious setting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I watched some docuseries on Jehovah's Witness. I watched it on other religions because I really love that. I watched on the Mormon religion. Mm-hmm. I mean, it just, you'll learn. It's not there for me to judge it. It's there for me to be aware mm-hmm. of it, and not try to change anything. Just let everything be the way it is and mm-hmm. just change Cindy.
Yeah.
And have my perspective of things. And if it wasn't for the 12-step program, I wouldn't have a God of mm-hmm. my understanding, not exactly. of my Catholic Church, not of your religion, but I'll never forget when I was in Boston for that recovery roundup, and that woman stood up on that stage and said she could not get the God part of the 12-step program. And another woman told her the difference between religion and spirituality was that religion was for people who fear going to hell, and spirituality was for those that had already been there.
Yes.
And I opened up and lit up, and I had
powerful.
And I was and the program told me it's a God of your understanding, Cindy. Mm-hmm. And I have chills as I sit here right now and tell you the most incredible, wonderful God that I have. Mm-hmm. And it's who I address every morning. Mm-hmm. It's who I address and thank for my sobriety and what I have today, and that I promise I won't pick up that first drink because mm-hmm. God and I work together on my sobriety, my addictions, my and it's your will be done. This is what I want. I'll give you my list, sure. Mm-hmm. But your will be done, not mine. So I know if I get a curveball during the day, it's not happening to me. It's happening for
you.
me.
Absolutely.
And it's for me to stop and observe and not judge.
Mm-hmm.
Not be afraid. Get a hold of whatever you got to do, but observe it.
Yeah.
Observe it. And that way
why am I feeling this? Why am I feeling this feeling? What feeling is this? Why am I feeling it? And what did it trigger in me?
Yes.
You know? Yeah. And I like that saying though, religion is for people who fear hell and spirituality is for people who've been there. Honestly, so growing up, Jehovah's Witnesses, they don't believe in the literal burning hell. And I joke around, I'm like,
I don't either.
If I was raised to think that if I was, sinning, I will burn forever, eternity in hell, like feeling the fire, like flames, I would probably be a little stickler too, full of fear. But we were taught that, when you're destroyed, you're just gone forever. Like a piece of if you take a piece of paper, burn, put a flame to it, it turns to ashes, so you'll be destroyed forever. I'm like, cool. So if I'm gonna be destroyed, I won't know I'm destroyed. So I'm gonna keep living my life,
That's right. But
so
what about this? What goes around comes around. That's the key to me, because I've heard it say, I'm not punished for my sins. I'm punished by them. So what I do comes right back around.
Oh, it does. It always does.
It might take 20 years, but that's honey, that stuff's going to hit right at the front door. Yeah. Go to my door and they go, huh? I steal a bike. I steal something. You're going to steal my bike. Yeah, somebody will steal your bike. That's right. And they did. Right out of my yard. I think I was cleaning about 4 years. And I just bought a brand new Fuji bike. And back, it was a long time ago because I'm over in dirt. But paid like $120 for it. White, beautiful. Nice little bike. And I'm out mowing my lawn and my back garage doors wide open. I've got the place there in Oak and Lincoln Park Drive in the city. And I went to go put more gas in my lawnmower, and my bike was gone.
Oh, man.
And I didn't get mad.
You're just like, what?
I went, see, Cindy, honey, what was all this stuff you stole in your life? Yeah. And I stopped for a minute. Honest to God, I stopped for a minute. I said, I prayed, and I said, whoever's got this bike, it serves you. Yeah. But you're going to lose. Pay for it sometime, honey. So if you want to bring it back, I'll leave the garage door open. But if you don't, that's okay, too. And of course, it didn't come back. Yeah. But I know, and thank God life isn't fair, because I have never paid for everything I've done. I know that. And I don't even know exactly everything I've done because I was a blackout drinker.
That's what I was going to say. Like, before drinking, as far as like morals, I was pretty much did everything you're supposed to do morally. I wasn't out here stealing and killing and things like that. But when I was drunk, I don't know what I was doing. But my behaviors in general, when I was in the drinking time, it was mean and hateful, like hurting people around me by like not like closing everyone off and just being and isolating and hurt myself and others in the process. And of course, my attitude was terrible. But you said the spirituality is for people who've been through hell. Yeah, that right there. That's where the faith comes in at. Well, that's where you end up learning to have some kind of faith, because once you get to the side of like the higher power beyond own understanding, and you have faith, and it's like, I can trust and believe that no matter what, I'm going to be okay. So
life might not be okay,
but I'm going
to be okay.
Even if I don't like it.
That I don't have to like it. See, that's the acceptance part. I don't have to like it. I don't have to agree with it. I don't have to buy into it. I don't even have to respect it. But for me, I have to honor it. Because everybody that I have ever met, as long as I live, especially the people who are my greatest perpetrators, somebody got to them before they got to them. So if I do not forgive my enemy, I will become them. Yeah. Don't mean I'm going to do what they did to me. It means I'm going to keep inviting people in my life. They're going to hurt me because I haven't done the forgiveness. Yeah. And the forgiveness is not if you come and you beat the living daylights out of me and break both my legs, I can't forgive what you've done. That's God's job. Yeah. My job is to forgive the person that was so hurt, was so angry, whose perception was so off, whose heart was so broken that you felt you had to do that and you had the right. Yeah. That's what I forgive, the person. Never what they did. Yeah. Never the people who molested me, never the men who raped me.
Mhm.
The men, but never the
The
act. Never.
act of it.
That's
Yeah.
not my job. I don't have that kind of power. I'm a
Yeah.
human being.
I get it. That I'm still stuck on that. The saying, I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, man, that's super powerful. You know,
Yeah.
it is.
But when I set my dad free, I became free of that. I have because that's all I could remember was the awful. Once I said him, I could tell I forgave him because then I could remember. Oh God, we went fishing.
Yeah.
I remember the good things he taught me.
Because it takes up so much mental space and it's so heavy. It's like carrying around a bag of bricks, holding on to resentment and hatred and anger.
Yes.
And it's blocking off, like you said, other memories, like the good things, the good memories that you have.
Because nobody's 100% horrible. We're not born that way. We become hurt, and then we hurt, and we hurt, and we hurt and hurt again.
Yeah. Yeah,
I have to put myself on the same level as any man or woman who sits in prison today of murder or anything else. I'm on the same level.
And people do things. I think about how like emotionally and spiritually bankrupt they must be and how hurt they are. Because I remember I've never like went and beat anyone and took their legs off. But I know like I remember being in my lowest of being so like emotionally, I like to say spiritually bankrupt, because emotional is like, oh, I'm sad or happy, but the spiritual part of it, the spiritual bankruptness, like I was so empty. It was like a big black hole, and no matter what I consume or try to drink alcohol, it's still there. I buy, spend money to buy things. The hole is still there, just feeling so alone and just trying to do anything to get out of myself. So they probably must have felt the same way, but they just took theirs to a different extreme, because there's a cause and effect for everything. It can be good or bad.
Well, and when you torture someone, I've heard stories, I tell you, over the years being in the program, you just go home and you wonder why these people are even alive, their childhoods. I will, I'll take my childhood any day. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
What I've heard, I will take and mine was not nice. I will take it and be glad that I was where I was at. Because I'm telling you, and it's the people who share their, what we call in program 4-step, their past, the most brutal and the most harmful, the most hurtful are people who come from Christian families.
It can be harmful. I know someone personally who was shunned at the age of like 14 or 13 for whatever they did. It was like they should have did it according to. Yeah, they should have did it, but the whole family was in their religion, so basically the whole family wasn't talking to them. No one. So if you're raised in this religion and your friends is in this religion, your family's in this religion, and everyone say, "Oh, don't talk to this person because what they did," that's trauma. You're 14. You have no one to talk to. So now it's like creating insecurities. Like it's a footprint that's there now.
That's right.
And it's going to affect every decision you make moving forward. And that's it's just sad. It makes my heart hurt. Like for that person, like, man, I'm so sad that happened to you. I'm sorry it happened to you. It's not fair. But it's not fair. However, move forward and find a God of your own understanding, because that wasn't your God. Those were people doing those things.
Exactly.
And it's and it's like a lot of people, just in general in life is hard. Especially these days. Life has been hard for a long time. It just publicized more because it's social media. You got TV and all that stuff. But the key component is like spirituality that's missing.
It is.
Like what happened back in March. My sister-in-law passed away. We took in the kids and all the mess that came along with the courts and all that from March until recently. And I'm just like, maybe a month ago, things stopped being a blur. And I'm like, man, there was a lot of crazy shit that happened and was happening. I was losing my mind. I was losing my mind, but it was just so stressful. But the whole time, each step I took, my higher power was with me to guide me. Because I know I called you one day having a hard time. And my higher power spoke to me through you. And the words you said the right thing. The words you said really had me like, oh man, she's right. let me follow these directions of what she mentioned.
Do the next right thing.
So I'm like, man, my higher power has always been with me.
Yeah.
So how can I believe that, oh, my God doesn't love me because of my lifestyle? Bullshit. Bullshit.
No. Well, I tell you, when in the program, when they wanted me to do that third step, turn your own life over to the care of God, I said, absolutely not, because my religion told me that if I do that, if I take my being a lesbian to God, God's going to change me. And guess what, folks? Somebody lied to you, because that didn't work. I live with my God every day, all day long.
Yeah.
My God's girl, you go do what you got to do, sweetheart. I made you this way.
Yeah.
You're good. You're a good woman. You're a good woman of dignity and honor. These people lied to you. I don't change you. I make you. I create you.
Yeah.
And we're all created different, or we wouldn't all have different fingerprints. Ain't no two people on the planet that's got even identical twins that have the same fingerprints. We're not bad and good. We're different. We're supposed to be. We're just, from you to me, we're all different shades of God.
Yeah.
That's all.
A creation.
Yeah. We go from, well, I don't know too many people that are really white. The albino people, I guess. But we're all, you look at us, we're just different shades of our Creator.
Yeah, it's like
we go from light to dark to dark to dark to light to yellow to brown to black to beige to. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah, and having like a conscious, like being able to think of things and to have our own understanding and connect with a higher power. I know for me, when I'm connected with my higher power, it's through prayer and meditation. And I can pray about some stuff or have questions, and sometimes the idea pops up. Oh, it's a good idea. Like the being able to pause and think and listen. Or I talk to someone like I talk to you, and then you say something like, "Oh my God, that's the answer. That's why the next right thing is, But I can't hear that if I'm not praying. I'm not meditating. I can't see that or accept the answers. Or
we need each other. All of us need each other. You wouldn't be doing this right here.
Yeah, talking to y'all and sharing our experiences. And just trying to, just be us and put information out there. Just talking.
And open to, we'd love to hear from you folks, to email and let us know if you've got questions. I mean, it's like, if I didn't have people to go to that have gone before me, that have had the experiences, I wouldn't be okay with me today. And there's nothing wrong with any of us. I've had to heal. I continue to heal. I get epiphanies every once in a while. You have to heal. It doesn't matter where we come from or where we're going. It's about doing the next right thing for me. And sometimes I don't know that. So I need to come to you, or I need to come to somebody else. So if you need to come to us, we're open to say, to help in any way possible we can. Because the suffering's the option. The pain's inevitable. That's what life is.
Yeah.
Life is hard. It's hard to be human. I don't care who you are. It's hard to be human. But it's all doable.
Yeah.
Without hurting others, without hurting yourself. And you're not alone. You're absolutely not alone. We are here for you.
Yeah.
Anything. Bring it to us.
Yeah, so if you have any topics you would like to hear about, any questions, just want to, hear about anything, just make sure I'll have the email in the show notes. Email your questions or your situations, and we'll be happy to talk about it. And
or tell us your experiences.
Yeah.
And that because of the computer, there isn't, maybe we could have you on, love to have you on. It's because our experience is just ours. There's millions of experiences out there that we would love to hear about.
Absolutely. And if you would like to be a guest on the show, reach out to us on email or on social media. I'll put the link in the show notes. And if you want to hear about something, email us, hit us up. If you would like to come on the episode and be a guest, talk about your experiences, hit us up.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And if there's any writers out there and you're writing, please let us know about that. I have found that writing heals me in a way that there's something magic about it that heals me and makes me aware of me. And so that I can, if I need to tweak myself and change, and not because I'm good or bad, because I want to see something different in me. And I tell you, there isn't anything that it isn't possible. I mean, just do it. Take the risk. Take the chance. And feel the fear, but then do it anyway. Don't cut yourself short.
Feel the fear and do it
Yeah,
anyway. Because even if it's fear, it's all perspective.
sure it is.
It's just your perspective.
Yeah, yeah,
Get over yourself.
yeah. And we can help each other. My mom used to say, "God bless you." She said, "It's not what you know, darling. It's who you know."
Yes.
And so this is the beautiful thing about social media. We get to talk and be with people all over the world, and I come from literally poor country folk, 8 kids, and I have had two of my own radio shows. I've had an audience as much as 2,000 people. I've co-authored. I'm currently working on a 4 days to peace of mind and peace of heart forever, a workshop that I'm doing on. I mean, so do it. Whatever you want to do, just do it. Don't let anybody talk you out of it. Do it.
And if it's a thought, write it down.
Yeah.
If you have some ideas, write it down. Yeah, I like what Jim Rohn said. Your brain isn't a filing cabinet. If it wasn't Jim Rohn, it was somebody else. But yeah, you have an idea, write it down so you can always go back to it.
Yeah.
Journal. You have some feelings, emotions, write it down so you can go back and reflect on. Oh, I felt this. I felt this on this day. What was going on? Identify the feeling and like be able to work through it.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And that's what Zoom is for today too. I mean, if you guys out there need anything, guys and gals, yeah.
people.
I mean, I got a Zoom room. We can hop in there and talk. Don't you worry about it. Okay. Set yourself free from the past. You can't move forward if you're still in the past. And the past is the past for the reason. That's why it's there. Peek at it, but don't let it destroy you. Move forward, let go, let God, let us help you do what you need to do. That's why we're here.
Yeah, this episode is going to be the past is a place of reference, not a place of
There you
residence.
go. Love it.
Let it be a reference, not your residence. Don't live there. All right, so we're going to wrap this up, and I hope to see you all on the next episode. Stay tuned, and we are out.
Thank you.